Hello everyone, and welcome back to Star Trek Acheron, a Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition game using the rules by Modiphius Entertainment. My name is E03 the Game Master, and joining me are four lovely individuals who will meet in just a moment. The only thing that I'd like to say at the top of this session is that we will be talking about themes such as addiction. We will be talking about themes such as not necessarily self-harm, but it is in that same general wheelhouse. So if such things as addiction and self-harm are things that are sensitive to you, viewer discretion is advised for this episode. But as usual, we will be tackling these issues from a Star Trek perspective, very respectfully, very much the Star Trek dogma, where it's like, oh, I wonder what this means in the context of today's world kind of thing. But you'll see what I mean as we get into the story today. And other than that, I'm excited to actually get playing again. It's been over a month since we've been able to play, so I'm eager to just jump right in. So let's go around, introduce everybody, and get started. Starting with Sanctum. Sanctum, who you playing, and anything you want to shout out?
Has it really been a month? Bloody hell.
I think it's been 20 days, something like that.
Yeah. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. I am Captain Soldier. I am the erstwhile Trill Captain of the Acheron, and I'm here to hopefully inspire and make people fix toilets.
Good old Senior Chief Shifty. All right, Tigdam, what do you got going on?
Hello, my name's Tanglim. I'm playing Commander Samara, the, now second officer, chief security, chief tactical, and until she finds somebody else. But yes, I'm still fairly new to, TTRPGs and being a player, so I'm really excited to get going.
Very nice. Nom Nom Roko, what do you got going on?
Yeah, hi, I'm Norm, and I'm playing Lieutenant Aileen Vauban, a joint Trill, and she's currently acting chief engineer. And yeah, also Happy New Year to everyone.
Yes, Happy New Year indeed. And last but not least, Arwen, what do you got going on?
Hey everyone, Arwen here. Nothing in particular going on, just recovering from being filled with cheese all week. And Happy New Year. And I am playing Azrian, the Elorian scientist and mystic who's along for the ride here on the Acheron.
Very nice. And with that, let's run the intro and get started proper. And welcome back. So, because I don't think I gave anyone the opening log, let me check in. Did anyone remember if I gave them the opening log?
Oh, no, we completely forgot to do that. I think I blame Christmas.
You know what? I'm going to blame Christmas too. How dare you, Christmas?
Fucking Santa.
So here's what we're going to do. Because normally I would give you all a chance to earn momentum. I'm just going to give you a momentum to start things off. Happy New Year. You're at 2 momentum after factoring in momentum from chat. But what I'm going to say is that it has been about we'll say 3 weeks since your revelation that you were now kind of stuck in that area of space between the delta and gamma quadrants that hasn't really been explored after, your accident with the protostar, or no, sorry, it was a neutron star going critical. And, you've realized that it's going to be a long journey back home, not as long as Voyager's. But what matters is that things are starting to fall into a routine for all of you. And what that means for each of your characters, we'll find out shortly. But to interrupt the routine, we'll say that most of you are on the bridge at this point. It is about, halfway through beta shift, so mid-afternoon, when all of a sudden your comms officer turns and reports, Captain, I'm receiving some sort of, not a distress call, but sort of a welcome greeting being broadcast on a general channel. Should I play it?
Proceed.
All right. And then what happens is it's an audio-only message, and the message is the following. Hello and welcome all to the Bavarian Empire. We are excited to extend a warm hand of welcome to you. If you are in the area and wish to conversate, we have ships located at the following positions, and we are eager to engage in cultural exchange. However, should you not be amenable to such actions, all we ask is that you do not cause issues while within our space, and that you depart at your leisure. And then the message repeats over and over.
Soldier listens to it probably about 3 times with a stony expression, and then he just sort of like turns to the comms officer and sort of like makes a gesture across his neck as if to just say, cut it off.
It cuts it off.
He then turns to everybody and just looks quite quizzical. For an empire, they seem very un-empire-ish. I don't think I've ever had a welcome mat before.
I think the word empire tends to get some unfair connotations sometimes. I'm from an empire as well, and we're relatively friendly, as long as you don't upset us.
Well, empire denotes that you are ruled by an emperor.
Or an empress, in my
empress.
case.
That means there is one person at the top. We have an elected person at our top, which is who our president, the president of Starfleet. And obviously this changes hands on a regular basis. I don't need to lecture you on why this is Starfleet's preferred method of doing things, rather than having one person in charge who just determines that they're in charge. And he seems a bit agitated when he says that, because there's a history, but he's not going to go any further on that. But he says, he reins himself back in and says, but I respect that your universe is different. Let's just say the Starfleet has a long history with empires, and they've never ended well.
I can't say that many an empire throughout our history either has ended well, but ours has been going for a while, and it's still going strong. It does help when your leader has an extended lifespan and a support structure around them.
Soldier sort of leans back in his chair and sort of puts his weight onto his sort of elbow, and then thinks for a moment. If they are the dominant, that's the word I'm struggling for. If they are the dominant ruling social organization in this particular sector of space, then we should make contact. Set a course for the nearest one of those starships that they gave the coordinates for.
Helm officer turns and says, "Aye, sir, setting in a course."
Proceed.
Soja, I would recommend getting a little more information about the area of space that they're in, that we're traveling into. This region of space is rife with anomalies, binary, trinary star systems, all sorts of gravitational disturbances.
Hmm. Do we stay here and we send them a communique?
Well, I don't want to tell you what to do. I just wanted to be prepared. I don't know what we're going into exactly. I am curious.
This is precisely. He cuts you off and says, "This is precisely my worry. I do not want to take our ship, which is our number one asset, into a situation that we are unfamiliar with. I take on board your advice and suggest that we probably want to send a delegation ahead of us. Ops, do we have a runabout above the ship?"
Well, about that, sir, I hate to report that, unfortunately, well, we've got half a shuttle.
There's just a moment of just silence while Soldier takes that in and thinks what he wants to say, but doesn't say it. We really should build a runabout, but we don't have the time. We're going to have to take the ship in.
We may want to take the ship in slowly, as you mentioned, there are several anomalies in the area which could be good for us. In the event that we do have to run, it's better to know where best to run to.
Well, give me some solutions. So give me some solutions as to where we can head.
No specific solutions aside from just scan a few of these anomalies along the way. Take our time.
Right. Okay. Ops, I want you to arrange a staff meeting in the next 5 minutes. Meet me in the briefing room. And so just gets up and goes there.
All right. So, my notes say that, at least as far as my notes are concerned, that currently Azrian is the sort of pseudo-acting science officer. Is that still correct?
Yeah. There is a... He's kind of attached to the science division department, and there is an acting science executive, but they are playing... They're kind of like doing second fiddle to Arwen, to Azrian, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah. I just wanted to be sure before I forced anything on Arwen. Cool. All right,
Yeah.
well...
I'm technically under Lieutenant JG Ta'an.
That's correct, yeah.
But she is... she's quite bright, but inexperienced.
Absolutely.
All right, the Vulcan weeaboo. I remember now.
That's right.
Remember. Oh, Lord. All right, well, Azrian, since you're the one on the bridge and you're the one that is going to be doing the scan, why don't you ring in the new year with a reasoned science? And if someone can grab the ship, it will be a sensors science. As a reminder, the ship always rolls with a focus and only rolls one die and an assist. The difficulty on this would normally just be a 1, but since chat has redeemed a complication, I'm actually going to bump the difficulty to a 2.
Okay.
I've got the ship.
And what am I? I'm scanning space?
You are scanning space.
All right.
So you would actually have astrometrics, astrophysics, planar dimensions and realms. You've just got a lot of focuses here.
I do. And I don't... Well, I'm just going to give it a roll. I'm not going to spend any momentum here.
Okay. Well, you get your 2 successes that you need. So what you actually find out, Azrian, is that there is a interesting star system ahead of you. And I don't mean in like, oh, it's a binary star. Oh, it's a trinary star. Oh, it's a black hole. What I mean is that this meeting location is apparently a trinary black hole system, which, if you're not familiar with the 3-body problem, just in general terms, basically the reason why we don't find trinary star systems is because there's not a really standard stable orbit of 3 gravimetric bodies. So the fact that not only there's 3 black holes, but they're in a perfectly circular orbit of one another, something isn't right here.
So Azrian will look at this for a moment, fold his arms together, and throw the results up on the main viewer. This is an exceptionally rare would be an understatement. Ta'an, are you seeing this? 3 potentially stable singularities in a stable orbit of one another?
Now, Sanctum, since Ta'an was one you created, do you want to voice them or should I?
I am happy to have a go.
Yeah, go for it.
She turns to you and raises an eyebrow. I can see precisely what you are seeing. I am very curious as to how this has occurred. It cannot be occurring naturally. The odds of that would be... And she starts reeling off an incredibly long number down to a precise amount, fractions, until you sort of look at her and then she just stops.
It is against the odds that this would be naturally occurring, but they're not zero.
Only the impossible would be have 0 odds. This is hugely improbable, is perhaps the best phrase.
I'm not sure how to calculate the variables for to plot a safe course there.
Query. Do you believe that this is an artificial creation?
I don't have enough data to form an opinion.
Well, speaking about enough data, I have been reminded that the Acheron is actually an experimental vessel, which means that 18 that the ship rolled is actually a complication. So,
Oh dear.
since I'm just now remembering it, I'm going to be nice and I'm just going to be taking 2 threat. But I just wanted to butt in there and let everybody know that there's a reason why threat is going up.
Azrian, should we petition the captain to investigate this further, as it does represent a significant find?
What are your instincts telling you?
My instincts?
Your instincts.
I am a Vulcan. I rely on logic, not instincts. She seems almost baffled by you saying that. It seems like
I have a question for
weird...
you. I have a question for you, Lieutenant. Is it logical to not use all the tools in a toolbox that might be applicable to a situation?
That would be logic, yes.
I would argue that logic, while very important, is not the only tool you have at your disposal in this instance. So I'll ask you again, what does your instinct tell you?
I have heard the humans have an expression about trusting their butts.
I smile at that a little bit. Sure, it could be trusting your butts.
I don't understand the meaning of that phrase, but I will trust my logic, and logic dictates that this cannot simply have been a natural occurrence. It is a find of stellar significance, and therefore we should take the opportunity as part of Starfleet's mission to investigate and catalogue.
I concur. I will follow your lead on that.
She looks a bit nervous when you say that, and she said, I think, just saying, harkening back to something you just said, the best tool in our collective armory is yourself and your ability to be persuasive. Therefore, I believe logic dictates that you go to the captain and present this idea to him.
I of course will do that, though I would ask you to also consider that maybe this is something, as you are the chief science officer, that you could...
Acting chief science officer. She interrupts.
I stand corrected, Lieutenant. You could, we could collaborate on this together. I appreciate that you are acknowledging my strengths, and I want to acknowledge yours. And I certainly don't ever want to undermine your authority here.
The only authority I have is that which is assigned to me by the nature of my station.
Which is authority nonetheless. Why don't let's go to the captain together. I would suggest going to the captain together, and you informing them that you've asked me to brief them.
That is the truth. She seems very uncomfortable, but she tries not to show it.
I make a mental note that I need to circle back and see if we can work on her confidence a bit over time. But for right now, I will go to the captain and take the lead.
Okay.
Captain, we have Lieutenant Soja and I have completed our initial analysis, and we have a report to provide.
The captain goes over the comms and goes, meet me in the briefing room in the next 10 minutes.
Very good, sir. Azrian out.
All right.
Okay.
So, before we do the stereotypical "it's time for a meeting," we are actually going to check in with Miss Valban. So, Valban, what has your daily life been like? Have you just been conflicting with Shifty? Have you just been, up to your arms in work? What does it look like for you?
I mean, after the initial stress of arriving in the Delta Quadrant where we are and thinking to herself that it was all her fault and everything is horrible, Aileen has calmed down a good bit, getting into this routine of managing the ship's, internal affairs in terms of mechanical stuff, engineering stuff, obviously, keeping the engines running that were initially damaged, but I suppose they would be practically, or mostly fixed now, I would say, after 3 weeks, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've had time
Yes.
to get them back up to working order.
Okay, so we got things working again, and now she's comfortable in the routine. I think she's still, butting heads with Shifty, but I think it has gotten to like a normal level. And now, since things has been normal, she's kind of focusing more on like single tasks, keeping herself occupied, and has her little side project still going, still working on the equations, on finding out how they even got there. But it's more in the back of her mind, and since they are now more focused on survival and getting a move on, and she's also been keeping an eye on the resources that the ship has, because eventually our dilithium reserves are going to run out, as well as the antimatter, and we will have to figure out how we can keep going with what we have. Do you have information on that, or should I just make something up?
You're feel free to make something up. Generally, my standpoint is that at this stage in sort of technology, It's something where the ship can actually run for like an easy 5-year deep space mission. That's just how advanced the ships are. It's definitely not like, say, the original era where they weren't able to reconstitute their dilithium matrix, where they had to get new dilithium.
Okay.
And it's also not as bad as Voyager, where they had to ration energy reserves that lasted for all of a season and a half before they threw it out of the window and decided to not track it anymore. I'm also not going to be tracking photon torpedoes because, much like Voyager, if we started tracking torpedoes, you'll fire 40 more than you actually have. So, you know.
And we have like an advanced assembly system, so we can make new torpedoes with whatever matter reserves we got to build that kind of stuff. So I think we have a
To put it another way, I mean, the Acheron is very much a flying starbase. Like, you are at the size and at the capacity and the capability to act as a mobile starbase. So you definitely are equipped.
Yeah, despite not having everything on board that we were supposed to have.
Correct, yes. And the fact that you have a reduced crew as well. I mean, all of this sort of just feeds back into, you've got the materials to work on things, you've got the spare materials if something goes wrong, like, you are set.
Okay.
Though apparently you only have half a shuttle because those are coming on Tuesday.
I mean, we can get working on that eventually.
Is this going to be a thing where we build a shuttlecraft and then it gets blown up every other session?
Probably. It's like the Delta Flyer. How many times did the Delta Flyer blow up?
Just a few.
Yeah. Built character.
Okay. Then I suppose there isn't that much to worry about besides that. But I think Aileen is still trying to keep track of things, to be by the book, and is a bit anxious about it and anal about it.
All right. So
because she doesn't want to do anything wrong.
Understandable. So what we'll say then is you're in your office reviewing some reports, and I think Shifty pokes their head in and goes, "So, did you hear the news? The captain is taking us to a trinary black hole system, as if this is some novel thing that we should be exploring."
A what?
A trinary black hole system. It has 3 black holes in perfect circular orbit of one another.
I know, but that's impossible.
Yes, well, you know how it is. You know, we fly out in space and we see crazy things that not should be existing, and it is apparently our job to be understanding them even if they should not exist in the first place.
And Aileen's eyes like light up in excitement. I mean, considering it's impossible, that means it has to be artificial. Have we encountered other people, or what's going on?
Apparently, there is some kind of empire that wishes to make contact with us. This is all I have heard, other than the fact that you are expected to be reporting to the main conference room for the daily stand-up. God, do I hate daily stand-up.
Oh, God. Oh, God, I forgot the time. Thank you so much, Shifty.
I would say you are welcome, but it is not my place to keep your schedule, so in the future, pretend that I did nothing.
All right. Well, thank you anyway. And
do not be thanking me. Tell me that I am shit or something, or that I need to install a toilet and shit in it or something.
Are you all right?
I am perfectly fine. But you should not be asking that. You should be telling me that I am a horrible person. Remember, I am Tellarite. You are supposed to be insulting me.
No, I mean, from what I know, I'm supposed to be arguing with you, but that goes a little far, doesn't it?
No, there is nothing too far. That when it comes to insulting and arguing with someone, there is no boundary you cannot cross with a Tellarite.
I'm not going to ask you to deal with the toilet again. From what I've heard, we can manage. Look, we can talk about this after the meeting if you want. I don't want anyone here to have to be upset for any reason.
I am not upset. The only reason I am upset is because you refuse to give me a good argument.
You know what? I'm sure we can find someone else to argue with you.
No, that is deflection. You are not engaging in the spirit of the argument. And like I'm just imagining like Valvin is just trying to leave her office and Shifty is like following you out the door. Eventually he'll, leave you
Basically,
alone.
yes.
Eventually he'll leave you alone to go find somebody else to argue with, but that's what I'd imagine. All
Okay.
right. So
I assume the Tribble is gone somewhere, right?
no, if I remember correctly, thanks to Azrian, we now have a containment on the Tribble.
Ah. Okay. So it was I'm gonna say it was chilling in my office because though Aileen loves that Tribble, it's currently her emotional support Tribble when it's in the room and not somewhere else, but yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It's
All right,
just,
well, it's time for the best part of any Star Trek episode where we all do our daily stand-up in the conference room. So all of you are present. No other NPCs, just the four of you. That way, you don't have to talk to one another. You don't have to talk to yourself. But the four of you are there. As we established in one of the very first episodes, the replicator automatically creates whatever beverage your character prefers and floats it out to you on a tray. Very fancy. Even brings you a nice snack. If you're known to come to these meetings and ask for a snack, Replicator automatically brings you a snack as well. So if you like peanuts or if you like some other kind of finger food, you have it in front of you. But since it is a senior staff meeting, I'm going to let the senior staff run it.
So just sits down at the head of the table and he just scans you all. And after a few moments, he just leans forward and goes, "So, you all heard the message, I presume. There is some star empire of an unknown nature, capacity, power, which has apparently rolled out the general welcome mat. I don't know if the message was directed at us or whether it's a blanket welcome to anybody who happens into their space. Now," and he looks pointedly at Vauban and says, "You and I know just how difficult first contact with various star empires have been for the Federation. It's a well-documented part of Federation history, Starfleet history, that both the Romulans and the Klingons did not appreciate our first contact. I am therefore loath to take us into a situation where we are not fully appraised and with a, shall we say, an escape route. So I need your suggestions how to proceed. Do we scout the area before we go anywhere? Do we document things so we've got a better understanding of where we are in space? Or do we go to the obvious power and hope they're friendly and maybe we can broker some kind of trade agreement whereby they can give us information, technology in return for whatever they may desire from us? Proceed.
If we are to go to them, we need something to offer. So it would be interesting if we could go to this trinary black hole system and find out what's there. Things like this tend to be from, well, the ancients, things like the Dakar, the Iconians, or something modern like the Interstellar Concordate. If it's the latter, they're more immortal than we think, but maybe some information as a positive exchange, something local that they can actually use.
Let me stop you there. Why have we concluded that it's been made by some ancient society?
It's a possibility. This, from what
if I may,
Yes.
I mean, it's very difficult to keep this kind of system together, right? So it has to be advanced technology being used, therefore assuming that it is a powerful race or some sort of ancient construct keeping those three black holes together is a safe assumption.
Lieutenant Ta'an has astutely calculated the odds that this is a natural phenomenon at extremely low.
Right. Let's focus on that. If this is a non-natural occurrence, therefore somebody has made it, why would they do that? Question, answer.
Plenty of reasons. It could be for some. The nature of black holes isn't known to us. They are very useful as both power generation, bending reality, bending time. So if they were doing temporal research or reality research, that's certainly a use for them. Weapons testing. If you have 3 black holes in the way, if you can destabilize the black holes, that's useful for weapons. It could also be a jump point from one galaxy to another. We have the Empire has had issues with the Interstellar Concordate in the past. They are essentially at this moment kill on sight for us. They are an extragalactic power that essentially jumped into my version of this galaxy to attempt to enforce their will upon everybody and everything. So we tend to investigate things like this. But it could also be because they felt like it. When a society gets to that kind of technological advancement and power, this could just be an art piece.
I would add on to Samara's analysis that it could be an energy generation system. And looking into your Federation database, in the case of the Eightfold Star system that the Jat Vash were concerned about, that contained something they called the Admonition, it could simply be to get attention.
It could also be to hold a prison of some sort, to hold an entity. I don't know the full extent of it, but I do understand that certain celestial beings, shall we say, are affected by issues with time and gravity, so we could be walking into a prison.
Soja holds up her hand as if to stop the conversation, and then slams it down slightly and goes, if this could be a power source, can we utilize it? Can we shave off, or should I say even generate a wormhole to get us back to Federation space?
You go first, Asrian.
Thank you, Commander. Operating on the hypothesis, the very loose hypothesis, which is more speculation than notion, that this is an energy source. There are just too many variables to be able to answer that question currently, Captain.
Until we get there, we won't entirely know. If it is some form of energy source, we could potentially use or build potentially something like a graviton catapult to shorten our time. Or it could simply be too much gravity. We don't know until we get there.
At the very least, we could maybe just ask them for help. Right? They seem nice on the call.
I don't believe they're the same people. Was it not coming from a different direction, or am I mistaken?
So to clarify, because I can see there's some confusion here, the trinary black hole system is where the nearest delegation from the Bivarians is located.
Oh, that changes things.
Yes, I believe you're jumping to a conclusion by discounting the fact that this empire could have done this.
I mean, if they are, at least they have someone at the location. And this is, I mean, I think this is the first time we heard from someone, right?
Yes, and apologies, Captain. I misread the data there. I thought it was coming from a different direction. But if we're going there, I still extreme caution. They could have just found this, but if they have any role in maintaining something like this, then extreme caution.
The last time we sorry.
My apologies, Soja. If they have the capacity and the technology to harness 3 very powerful singularities into a stable orbital configuration, they must possess awesome power and abilities. Caution could be warranted, or they could be in a position to help us if they are the same civilization that put these singularities into place.
They could have also simply found them, and our sensors tracked onto such a stellar phenomenon. It's what would you say, a landmark in space? It could be simply that. But if they're that powerful, then they decide we're a problem. I don't think there's anything we could do to stop them.
Captain, we could sit here speculating all day, and it might be fun, but the fact of the matter is that the answers lie in the system and not here.
Considering that we are in our current predicament because of our interaction with the stellar phenomena, I am loath to take us anywhere near such a situation without precautions. What can you give me to make sure that we're going to be safe going in?
We could reinforce. Oh, go again.
Please, Commander, you are security chief and executive officer.
Yes, well, I'm still new to this. I keep cutting people off. I apologise. So what we could do is reinforce structural integrity at least. If there's going to be some sort of gravimetric shear, then we could modify our shields. We could enforce structural integrity. We could close certain bulkheads in case there's any sort of wave that gets hit, rather than relying on the force fields or the shields even. Just a bit of common sense, not quite rushing into this.
Right.
I would also add that possibly the lieutenant and I, with Lieutenant Vauban's help, could run simulations to calculate any potential gravitational eddies so that we can plot I won't say safe, but safer course. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out that my ship, it's not a shuttle, but it is available to run a reconnaissance mission, or to possibly potentially make first contact if you're concerned about bringing the Acheron into the system.
Is your ship repaired?
That's a good question. Is my ship repaired?
Narrative declaration. Is it your call?
Shoot. Well, you know what? I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I'm going to say not completely. I'm going to say that the engines are repaired, but some of the structural integrity system still needs to be fixed.
Yes, we've been struggling integrating some of our tech into your shuttle. So
Yes, I've heard Shifty's surprising command of Tellarite pejoratives.
yeah, he said something about cable salad or something. I'm not quite sure. It was very colorful.
Yes, it was colorful. We really need to talk to your comms officer. He speaks a particularly unique dialect of Tellarite, and the translator keeps shifting its accent.
Soldier leans forward. Make the repair of your ship a priority. I want that thing flying, and then I want you to take a delegation. And he looks at the commander and says, "I want you to take a crew to make first contact and to study this stellar phenomena, and then report back."
Aye, sir.
I can give you some crew, engineering crew, to deal with upgrading some of the system of the ship for the hull reinforcements. And I suppose I can personally help Azarian with his shuttle to make it work if we want to speed things up.
Unfortunately, there's only so much that can be done. I mean, we can try, but some of the reason my hull is a little more, I hate to say the word fragile, but isn't as responsive to your technology, is that part of my ship's function as an observatory is that some of the hull can flip over and become a mirrored surface, which then reflects and is part of the telescopic array.
Oh, oh, that's what it is. I see. Like, and she's looks very excited about
It
that.
it is exciting.
Would that light you up on sensors, however? Would that make you a beacon, or would that hide you?
Depends on what sensors you would use. I think if you were using passive sensors, you would detect the reflection of light. But my ship actually does have a reduced sensor profile.
Is there enough
Hey.
room for a security team and some additions? We do want to make a good first impression. I can understand the safety of the ship, of course, but are we sure we want to take Asrin's ship and not show up in what we have? It's just an option.
I will mention that I don't really have much in the way of armaments, if any.
We're not intending to fight an entire empire with one ship. I think we'll be fine sending one shuttle in. I am unwilling. Go on.
Yes, sorry. I mean, we have a half-built shuttle. In this one, the engines are still missing, and it's gonna take some time to build up the rest of it. But could we, instead of finishing it, cannibalize it for Asrian's ship? Possibly. I didn't want to suggest this before because we wanted to plan having an actual shuttle working, but this seems to be a change of plans.
I
I
mean,
authorized it. This is do it. Get on it. Make this
Okay.
top priority. And take whatever you need. Replicator access is yours. You're authorized with the highest level. Proceed. Meeting adjourned. Soldier gets up and he just leaves. This was his final word. He's not ever saying another word on the matter.
He seems
That's that.
oddly stressed.
yes, I'm not quite sure what's happening there. I may have a conversation with him, but we have priorities at the moment. Is there anything else you two need? I will. Do any of you? I know, Asrian, you've been around the block. Do you have any experience with first contact? Would you like to come along? It is your ship.
I have a lot of experience with first contact, as you say. Not with this species, though. Though I have heard rumors of a civilization of nomads that travels this sector of space. No one knows their planet of origin, and I've never met them.
Well, as intriguing as that is, hopefully, well, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest. But let's get going. If there's anything you two need, let me know. And as the captain says, take the resources you need. I'll be getting a security detail ready.
Very good. And
Yes.
I can prepare I think if we move the library and my cartomancy table and some of my divination supplies, we could put some bunks in for a security team.
Well, we just we need some space on the floor. That's really it. If you're not using the table, we can just pile some supplies on there. Don't cannibalize anything that you don't have to.
You'll have the space that you need.
That's fine. If we're taking apart the shuttle anyway, we don't necessarily have to integrate everything. Just make sure a shield can get around it briefly. Do as much as you can, guys.
I think we can
Let's get
do
on this.
that. Maybe the inertial dampness will suffer a little, but we should get it working.
What's space without a little bit of
Turbulence.
motion? Turbulence.
Motion.
That'll work. Right, as Captain said, I will. I think. Well, meeting dismissed, I guess. I am going to go to the captain first, I think, and then we will go to the security team. You two get on with what you're doing, and Sorrel gets up and heads out.
All right. So we'll get to Valban and Azrian and the engineering team in a moment, but I do believe, Samara, you want to talk to the captain.
Certainly.
Though I guess the operative question is the captain even going to take the meeting?
He's in his ready room, but he's got a like a trinket of some description that he's just kind of like passing from hand to hand. It's probably some kind of Trill important memorial artifact that they have, similar to like a crucifix or something like that, and he's kind of just playing with it and sort of chucking it between hands and sort of as if he's deep in thought. So when you just sort of like chime at the door, there's a moment where he's just kind of just almost mindless as enter.
And she will do that and just take a look at the item and then the captain and say, I don't have to be telepathic to see that there's something on your mind, so is there anything you wish to discuss before I depart?
He thinks for a moment, and there's a your telepathy does pick up that there's a conflict, and it's whether he should be frank or whether he should be the stoic captain. And you always get these waves of internal conflict because he's navigating strange eddies, and it's difficult for him. He puts the thing down with a slam, and then sort of looks at you and says, "I'm a soldier," and he sort of wags his finger almost. I am not a diplomat. I am not Picard. And you, even from your society, you must have heard of who Picard is. He's one of the greatest admirals of our time and one of our greatest captains, and has brokered innumerable deals and peace treaties and so on. I don't have 1/10 of his skill in that area. I am a soldier. We are in a position where we are making first contact with what appears to be quite a potentially. We don't know of any facts at the moment, so let's not let imaginations run away with ourselves. But this is a potential disaster waiting to happen. I am not the man for this job, and I know that. That is why I'm putting people in charge who can do this job. If you want me to fly the Acheron and start a fight, well, I'm not going to do that either. But I would be more comfortable doing that. He says, almost smiling.
Oh, I would be more comfortable having the Acheron here. However, all I can say to that is we have who we have, and we have what we have. We're never supposed to be here, and yet we are. The best we can do is make use of the situation, but I don't need, well, you certainly don't need me to tell you that. All I will say is, rather than stacking all the things that you're not, perhaps look to your strengths a little bit. It could. I'm an Imperial myself. I understand the Empire. However, each is different, as you say. You've had your issues with the Klingons. We had our issues with the Klingons. You have lovely and peaceful Vulcans. We have a cross between ancient Vulcans and the Romulan Star Empire to contend with. So we don't know anything until we get here. Ideally, this is just another one of those cases where a more primitive civilization has found something of the elders and is slowly picking it apart. Hopefully they are as peaceful as potential. All I can say is mulling it over isn't going to be too helpful to us at the moment. We don't know until we get there. And as you say, you are a soldier, so if Asrian's dinky little shuttle begins to fall apart, I trust you have the phasers charged?
He grins and says, "Oh, believe me, the phasers are always charged."
I know, I tested them myself. Anyway, Captain, I know there's not many people that you can truly talk to on this crew. We are your subordinates after all, but if you do need something, I am here.
Yes, Asrian did say that, and he did say that somebody needs to think about me, and I've taken that to heart, of not to keep my thoughts to myself. So if I may lean on you a little at times, then that is appreciated.
And if the same goes for me, I'll be happy for it. We can't, especially in this situation, we can't afford to show weakness. We have a lot of junior officers. We have to play our roles, but if we don't let out a bit of that reality, it will crush us. So
Absolutely. And I refuse to take the Acheron into a situation which may lead to my vessel being destroyed or heavily
absolutely,
damaged.
absolutely. But yes, this was mainly, well, mainly checking on you and to see if there was anything else. But Asrian and Vobon are going to be stripping the shuttle as expected. Security teams, well, we can call those up. We want to make a positive impression, a firm but positive impression. I don't think there's anything else that we can really do besides what you've already suggested and what we're already planning.
Soja
So-
smiles and he sits up in his chair and says, "It is appreciated, Commander." Then he sort of stiffens up and the mask of stony facedness comes across his face, and he just says to you, "You have your orders."
Aye, sir. And she gives a little salute and walks out.
All right. So let us now focus on Lieutenant Vauban and Asrian working on the Oculus. And I'm going to offer you kind of an interesting way to go about this. Instead of setting a difficulty, what I am going to say is that this is going to be a daring engineering, and you may decide who is assisting whom on this case. But basically, the more successes you get, the better equipped and the better tailored the Oculus is going to be for this mission. So if you, for example, get one success, then you get the bare minimum, not a whole lot of interesting features. If you get like 2 successes, maybe you brought over a shield array, maybe you slapped on a phaser array, and it just kind of goes up from there. But again, it is a daring engineering, and I need to know who's assisting whom.
Well,
I mean,
Vauban is the engineer, so
yeah.
on the surface, I should be assisting her.
Mm-hmm.
How's your daring?
Good.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm daring. I am creative. I think I can do this.
People who are daring, they say it exactly that way. Yeah, I'm daring. Yeah. Risk taking? Sure, sign me up. Okay, why don't I assist you?
I
Num Num.
live on the edge. There we go.
I love it.
Okay. I don't think we need anything fancy for this. Let me see.
I would say that you have a focus in reverse engineering at least.
True. I think that's fair. And also manufacturing if we need some extra parts.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, I could argue that I could use my value of every problem has a solution, but maybe this is not really a stressful situation.
Yeah, I don't think you
so.
need to blow your determination here.
No. But nothing is beyond repair, so I can fix it.
This is true.
Okay. But yeah, that would be a determination thing then,
Mm-hmm.
if I were to use a value, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't think we are doing that. So I'm just gonna tick using a focus
Yep.
as usual, and the complication is still 20, right?
Still 20, and if you want to take momentum, I can walk through the cost of each die, but at the moment you're just rolling 2.
I'm just rolling 2. Should I take 3? 3 would be a bit safer, right?
By
I
all
think so.
means.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do that if that's cool with everyone. And I'm gonna roll.
4 successes to start. What does Azrian assist with is the question.
Okay, I will assist. And is it okay if I use small craft as a focus?
Certainly.
All right. And daring engineering for me as well.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, hopefully no one heard my Siri going off.
Well, the good news is that we only take the first die, so that complication's not a thing. But we are just at 4 successes, which still, 4 successes, tremendous deal here. So, since you succeeded so well, I'm going to let you all narratively declare how much have you modified the Oculus, what special feature have you added, things of that nature. So, between the two of you, what would you like to narratively declare?
Do you have any ideas, Roman?
I mean, I'm thinking since you were talking about missing shields and weapons and that kind of stuff, like defensive
Mm-hmm.
things, I would say maybe we managed to get the shield systems from the shuttle onto the Oculus so that we have a bit of safety there.
Okay. And I was going to say the original goal was to boost the structural integrity to fix that.
Yeah,
So I think we've done
like
that.
exactly. Take some of the hull
Right.
plating.
Right. In terms of fun stuff, I'm taking a quick look at the Acheron itself and what can it do.
Acheron can do a
I mean,
lot.
yeah.
uh,
But what kind of shuttle would we even have built? That's kind of a question.
how about that point defense system?
Yeah, you
Ooh,
certainly
like
could take the shuttle's phase array and turn it into a point defense system.
Yeah, yeah. More defensive capabilities. That's good. I like that.
Yeah. Is that useful? I
Could
mean, who
be.
knows?
I'm the GM. I can't say.
I think so. Let's
Okay.
take it.
All right. You never know what matter is being thrown around
Yeah.
in this system with 3 singularities going around. Might be good to pick off asteroids that the deflector doesn't get.
Yep.
All right. So I have written down that you've got the shield system from the shuttle, you've boosted structural integrity, and you have a point defense system of some kind from the shuttle as well.
There's one other thing I was hoping to do with the acting chief science officer.
Mm-hmm.
And that was to run a simulation to try to figure out like the best course to take I'm hoping to create a trait,
Okay.
and the trait would be gravitational eddy map.
Okay. Let's do this. Azrian, why don't you give me we'll call this a reason and a con.
Okay.
And then difficulty of 2 on this one. And you would have a focus in astrophysics here.
Okay.
And I'm checking your talents because it's been a hot minute.
So not astrometrics, since we're plotting a course.
No, it would be astrometrics as well.
Okay. Good. So astrometrics is, oh no, it's not. Never mind. But if I do, I have the visit every star talent.
Which I believe gives you a bonus momentum if you
Bonus
succeed.
momentum if I succeed. Yeah. And you said the difficulty was 2?
Correct.
All right. Well, I have a focus, and let's see how this goes. What are we at? We're at 1 momentum and 10 threat. Yeah, I'm not touching that momentum.
All right. The answer, unless you want to spend determination, is that's 3 black holes that shouldn't be in that formation. You got nothing.
Yeah. Okay, this is Azrian just kind of takes a deep breath and says, well, there are things that I can't control, and we have never studied a phenomenon like this before, and it looks like the math just isn't mathing right now.
All right.
Which is disappointing because I love math.
Don't we all? Don't we all on some level?
But this is, higher power is in the gaps, as some of the famous Earth scientists used to say. So until we figure this out, we're just going to have to leave our fate up to the Divine Mother.
All right, so just so that I have a written record of who all is going, I of course have Azrian. It's your ship. You're going. Vauban, you're going as well, I would assume. Samara, you're taking command.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then how many other people did you want to bring? Did you want to bring supporting characters? Did you want to bring Nameless Security Squad number 4? Who else is coming on this mission?
I think Ensign Yeehaw and his security small detail can come along. Because that's a brilliant idea,
I was
right?
just thinking of him. Yeah.
Ensign Yeehaw's security team. Okay.
And obviously Ta'an
Full
would
dress
really
uniform.
Like to go.
Okay. I forget, is Ta'an T''ANN?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right. And I don't think we've made a sheet for either Yeehaw or Ta'an, so I'm going to have to make a note here to make a sheet for them at some point.
Yeah.
But okay, so that's who I have so far. If that looks good, we can move forward.
Do we need to take anything else before we go? Casually slip in a quantum torpedo?
I don't think we have the launchers for that.
No, you would literally have to push him out of an airlock.
Oh, don't
Just do what the Peregrines do.
Samara will yeet it like a football.
Just do what the Peregrines do. Just tie it to the side, power it up, and then drop it like a bomb. That's what the Peregrines do, as far as I recall.
Maybe if we put some of the environmental suits like little thrusters on it or something.
But yes, full dress detail, dress uniforms for everybody. Be spick and span, proper form.
All right.
Is it extra uncomfortable as well?
Of course, it would be a dress uniform unless you were scratching, would it?
And you're not wrong. You're really not wrong. All right. So we skip ahead a little bit. After about a day's worth of travel in the Oculus, you arrive in the Trinary star system, Trinary black hole system, I should say. And what you find waiting for you is a very interesting sight. And what I mean by that is I want you all to imagine not a disc, but more of a sort of like a mushroom cap where there is a Class M environment being maintained on the surface of the mushroom cap. And there is a support structure underneath that's kind of needle-ish and kind of looks like it's sustaining almost like a starbase. But this is, for lack of a better term, this is something about the size of the United Kingdom in terms of just open air, open Class M environment that you could land on. And what you're able to tell is that this starbase installation, whatever you want to call it, is at a point safely away from the trinary black holes. And it is the source of the coordinates that you were sent here. And in fact, as you drop out of warp, you do receive an incoming hail directed to you specifically.
On screen.
All right. So appearing on screen is the first time you've actually seen a Bivarian. And to describe the Bivarian, I'd like you to imagine, your stereotypical elf. So very lithe, very graceful, pointed ears, the whole 9 yards, long hair, the type. But there's also a lot of insectoid features. And what I mean by that is there are 2 extra sets of insectoid arms, like black, chitinous, segmented, jointed in weird ways. And there is also a structure that looks like some form of a wing protector, or I think carapace is the right word to use here.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have some sort of a back carapace, and I guess it's called a thorax, if I remember my term correctly, where below the carapace that contains wing structures, there's kind of an abdomen or an extra sort of thorax that sticks out. Not quite like a tail, but definitely more of like a second segment, if you will. But they are bipedal from the nature. They do appear to have actually dual pupiled eyes. So instead of it just, the single pupil that we're all used to, sort of imagine that there's 2 of those instead of just the singular one. And when this individual speaks, she sort of sounds like almost like she's singing an opera, but I'm not going to subject you to that because I do not sing opera. But she sort of says, "Hello and welcome to the Bavarian Empire Installation 003. My name is Insidia, and on behalf of the Bavarian Empire, I welcome you. Please, may you introduce yourselves so that I may speak to you in a correct manner."
Greetings. My name is Commander Samara. I'm the head of this little expedition. We're a part of the United Federation of Planets, so we're from the ship Acheron, and we look forward to getting to know you.
We are not familiar with this United Federation of Planets you speak of. Interesting. Well, in the interests of spreading knowledge and good cheer, we invite you to make a landing at the following coordinates. If you are unable to survive in a Class M environment, we are able to modify our structure to accommodate your needs.
That's most kind of you. We'll see you on the ground.
Very good. Message cuts off, and Azrian, you can confirm that you have a set of landing coordinates on the UK-sized grassy meadow.
Hey.
Let us retract the warp nacelles, fold them into landing configuration, and attempt a landing.
And before we do...
Please, Samara.
Oh. Vobon. Before we land, I do want you to do a quick scan for me. See whether there's, first of all, whether there's anybody else here, and if there is, see if you can find any technology that doesn't appear to be a part of this structure.
So Aileen takes her head away from the window, and if her face was any closer, she would be outside the shuttle. So her trying to curb her excitement, and yes, of course. And oh my god, they have adaptive environmental systems. I need to look into this.
Just on a smaller scale. Now, concentrate, please, Vobon.
Yes,
we need to see whether...
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's fine. This is I understand the momentous nature, but we do need to be focused here. She said it was their facility, so I want to see whether their technology matches, or whether that'll give us an indication as to whether they made it or if they're simply using it. That's going to be very important.
Just occupying it?
Yes, and that'll be very important. There's a big difference between using something and knowing how it works.
I agree. And so I'm going to do that scan.
All right. Valbon, this is going to be a reason and engineering, and the Oculus will assist you with a sensors engineering. And let's see, total difficulty on this. I'll spend some threat. I'm going to make this a difficulty of 3.
I would like to argue that I can use my ancient technology focus, maybe.
Sure, I'll give it to you. No help from the Oculus, unfortunately.
Unfortunate.
Okay. I can offer you a success with a complication.
Yeah, I will take that.
All right. So, two things immediately stand out to you. The first is that, yes, this is contemporary technology on this station. It is not, say, a bit of ancient technology left over that somebody has just come along and inhabited. It is modern enough that it has been made within the last 100 years. The second thing that you notice is that at the very center of the trinary black holes, at the very center, that sort of anchor point in between all of them, there is what appears to be a ship-sized device, but your sensors are just not quite honed in enough with all the gravimetric interference and all that to determine what the function of this device is, but you can probably make an educated guess. Now, the complication is that there is a power surge during this scan. So the Bivarians are very much aware that you just scanned them. Now, whether or not you worry about that, I leave to your discretion. But you know that they know that you know, if you get my meaning.
Yeah. I mean, Vauban didn't even really consider that an issue, so she didn't think about it, but she does turn to Samara, frowning a little. Sir, I'm picked up something that is at the center of the black holes, but unfortunately I can't really tell what it is, but it's there.
So the station potentially isn't generating whatever field is keeping these stable. That's interesting to know.
I
Either
would
way,
assume so.
Very well. Did you detect any foreign technology aboard that station?
No, it's fairly new. Well, on an interstellar timeline at the very least. So it's probably the Bavarians' own tech. Could I tell if the device at the center of the black hole is different from the station itself?
I'm going to say, unfortunately, no, you are not able to tell
Okay.
that.
Okay. So yeah, unfortunately I can't tell if they made both. It's just the interference of the black holes makes scanning very difficult.
I don't suppose the interference allows you to see whether some of that technology on the station's contemporary with our own, is it? Or is there too much
Mm,
interference?
You could
no,
spend momentum to ask that question.
I mean, you did say it was around 100 years, so.
Mm-hmm.
Tahan stands up and she's a Vulcan, so obviously she is displaying no emotion whatsoever, but there is definitely an air of excitement. And for a Vulcan, she is excited. She steps forward and without really taking a beat, she says and asks Vauban, "May I check your scans?"
Yes, of course.
She doesn't wait for you to answer. She just starts tapping away on the keyboard to just
Okay.
look at the data. She's like, this is her thing. She is like proper in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
So her fingers fly over it. She's like, great, fascinating. It would appear to me that the two items are divorced from one another. The station and the other device, which is as yet unidentified, may not be associated. Logic dictates that if you were to design a station to investigate this, which is precisely what the Federation would have done, they did therefore possibly created the arrangement first. So it was either here before, it was definitely here before the station, possibly not created by these people. They are the two assumptions theorems that we can test.
I mean, creating those, or like putting together those black holes might have destroyed the station if it was here before, and Nadine is like rubbing her chin thinking. Yeah, it's a safe assumption.
Query.
I agree.
Go
if
ahead.
we were to inquire further, we may. It is difficult to really make any further inquiries or theorems based on the limited information we have. I would recommend caution in the investigation with these persons, as they may not take kindly to undue interest.
While that is fair, without further information, it's different if they have a similar level of technology to us versus if they're more advanced, or potentially they just have better environmental technology. There's a difference there, but if you can't tell me that, then we're just going to have to go with the presumption that we are the inferiors here, and we should keep decorum. The last thing we want to do is cause issue. So remember, everybody, best behavior, chin ups, try not to show off that you're overly interested in their technology. We are interested, of course, but
Query.
just be aware of yourselves. Yes?
Why would we hold our chins up?
Kind of phrase. Essentially, keep a confident air about you. Don't let them know that we're more interested in them than they potentially are in us.
You appear to have spent some time with humans.
I have.
They too make statements which make no sense.
No sense to you, but sense to the rest of us. What I will say is, I'll put it simpler, that even a Vulcan can understand. Try not to touch everything and look at every single thing as if you have no idea what it is and you want to know. We're there for a specific reason. You can investigate, but don't be obvious about it. Just, we're here for the diplomacy, we're here to make friends. If I was on their end and somebody was really curious about everything that I potentially had, well, if they don't know how it works, that means I may be able to take advantage of them. We're one ship. We don't want anybody to look at us from a position of weakness.
Ensign Yeehaw raises his hand.
Yes, Ensign?
Yeah, I just have a question. Do y'all think they're going to have good eating? Because don't get me wrong, Mr. Azrian, I've been enjoying our stay on the floor of your ship, but I'm getting a little tired of eating rations. I just wonder, should we be eating anything over there? Should we be taking food? Would that be rude to refuse? I'm just simply curious.
We should make sure it's compatible with our biology before we say that. So I would say bring a packet just in case, but keep it in your dress uniform.
All right. And might I say that if it doesn't agree with me, I mean, that's just more toilets that Shifty has to clean. So, what's the harm doing?
The harm doing is embarrassing us all in front of a potentially overly friendly power that might not be so overly friendly, Ensign. Keep that in mind.
Well, hold on. I don't mean no disrespect, Commander, but are you saying that gastrointestinal distress is a sign of weakness?
She just face palms, shakes her head, takes a deep breath. I'm saying that anything could be considered a weakness at this point in time. We want to come at this from a position of friendly strength, rather than we don't want these people looking down on us. Anyway, any other questions before we execute the landing?
Same me. I still have one question. What do we do if they actually are taller than us? I mean, they're going to look down on us then. So, do we get on their level, or do we just let them look down on us?
And how do you look at me, Ensign? I am taller than you.
Well, you look down on me, so I think that answers that question.
Keep your chin up. Keep your pride about you.
And then, sorry, I think Roban, you had something.
Yeah, no. So it's so don't eat anything strange and don't touch anything strange. And she looks a bit dejected at the last one.
If they are what they appear to be, then I'm sure you'll have the chance to poke and prod all you like. If they're not what they appear to be, then poking and prodding may just get you killed. Put it that way,
Yes,
Vobon.
sir.
In the
Anyway,
I would-
academy,
Yes.
we were taught about a species where it was rude to eat in front of them. I would therefore suggest that we use the old adage of, when in comb, do as the combs do.
Certainly. Act as they act.
You would have to tell me more about the combs. Where are they from?
I
I
don't know.
understand the combs were a country in ancient Earth that conquered half of the ancient Earthicans, and they spread through to Europe and to the United Kingdom. And I understand that the Comans, I think they were known as, they wore very tall brushes on their heads.
That is interesting. So strange, those humans. Combs.
Fascinating.
Perhaps our timelines differ greater than I thought. I'm aware of the British Empire. I'm not aware of Comans.
Yes, it is strange that they would wear combs on their heads, but this is
Well,
what I'm led to believe.
primitives do as primitives must. Anyway, let's get going.
All right. So mostly to make sure you guys have some momentum, hopefully, whomever's at the helm, probably Azrian, but really anyone, I need you to make me a control and a con at a difficulty of 1. The shuttle, the Oculus, will assist you with an engines con.
All right, I'll take the con here.
I'll take the Oculus.
Okay, I'm going to assume my small craft focus applies here.
Definitely applies, yeah.
All right.
All right, well, that's already 3 successes.
Oh, that's strange. I can't roll the Oculus for some reason.
Would you say the
Let me
Oculus
check.
was?
Hold on. It might be a permission thing. Yep, that would be why. Hold on one moment. Try now.
Okay, so engines con, yes?
Engines con. Mm-hmm. All right, that is a grand total of 5 successes, meaning you go from 1 momentum all the way up to 5. And
Very
what that's
nice.
going to mean is that not only do you land within molecule distance of where you have been told to land, but you do so gracefully and so Starfleet-ish is how I'm going to call it. Like, you follow everything by the book. And you settle down, and in fact, when you go outside, you do see that Insidia is actually applauding with 2 of her extra hands and says, I have not seen such a beautiful mastery of thrusters and impulse engines in quite a long time. Again, welcome to Installation 003. I am, of course, Insidia, and it is a pleasure to welcome you here. And as you all file out in your dress uniforms, I'm presuming, Samara, you're in the lead?
Yes, she does have her phaser on her, but it's on her sash as more. It looks decorational. She's not got it on. She's got it on her person, but not. Hasn't grabbed anything, and yeah, she's prim and proper, head up straight, and just says, "Thank you very much. We certainly appreciate the warm welcome and the compliments. I am Samara." She turns to Asrian. This is Asrian. This is Lieutenant Bovon. And this is Ta'an, who is a science officer. We bring you greetings.
Now, one quick point of order. Samara, you're pretty tall for occasion.
Mhm.
Well, Insidia, she's pushing 9 feet.
That's fine. No reaction. Just a smile, eye contact, head up.
All right. So, of course, Insidia looks at everybody as they're introduced, and she actually says off the names as Azrian, Vauban, Ta'an. Very well. I will do my best to commit your names to memory. I can see that you are not from this area of space. This United Federation of Planets you speak of is not known to us. We would be very much interested in learning more about you and your UFP, as it were. Please let me invite you to our communal table where you may rest and refresh yourselves after what I presume is a very long journey.
Well, thank you. We will take you up on that offer. It's certainly nice to have a nice relax after a difficult journey. I hope you are fine with us scanning the food. The last thing we want is an incident to happen.
Oh, of course, of course. We have come across many species with unique gastrointestinal parasites. Sorry, not parasites. I guess the better word would be bacteria. Yes, bacteria would be the better word to use here. That different gut biomes, as it were, exist within very different species.
Indeed, I simply wanted to make you aware that we will be scanning us to not cause undue discomfort to anybody.
Of course, of course. Please feel free to scan anything that interests you. We are, of course, here as a representative of the Empire and an olive branch as an attempt to establish good relations with those we encounter.
I think it would be really funny. Sorry to cut in here for a second. I think it'd be really funny the moment that she said that Azrian, Vauban, and Ta'an all grabbed our tricorders simultaneously because we've all been biting at the bit, and just start scanning everything.
All right. Well, to sort of set the scene even a little bit more here, so as you all whip out your tricorders and just start scanning everything that moves, what ended up happening is when you came down into this environment, it wasn't like, oh, you had to pass through a shell and you had to like go through a starbase airlock. Like, there was a legitimate atmosphere in this environment where you just sort of entered the atmosphere and landed. There wasn't like a delineation between the exterior void and the atmosphere itself. So do keep that in mind. The next thing to keep in mind is that for the most part, this is very much the rolling grassy hills. There's trees every so often. There's maybe a few interesting pieces of art which you have no idea what they're supposed to represent. But for the most part, it is the Windows XP background that just keeps going and going and going. There is a central building that you do see in the center of the space. And the reason you can see it from where you landed is because this structure is almost like an orbital elevator where it just sort of stretches up almost all the way up out of the atmosphere. And it is designed like a tapered cone. So this is a very large building in the center of this grassy knoll. But as you all pull out your tricorders and start scanning, Vauban, you see that there are immense atmospheric relays and sort of weather control systems. And I guess a question I can ask, have you ever been to Ryza? Have you ever been to the vacation planet?
Aileen hasn't.
Okay. Then what I'm going to say is you've only ever heard of how good Ryzian control is over their planet, but this is a level above the Ryzians.
Yeah, so Aileen just makes like a little squeal out of the data she's getting of excitement.
Now, Azrian, what are you looking for on your tricorder?
I do have my tricorder out, and I am running a medical scan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about the physiology of our hosts. I'm also curious about the atmosphere, just making sure, just double checking to make sure there's nothing harmful to us. But I would also say while I'm scanning, I'm trying to attune to my environment on a metaphysical level.
Okay, I was waiting to see if somebody would. Azrian, I need you to give me a fitness medicine at a difficulty of 2.
Fitness medicine, difficulty of 2. Okay.
And as a reminder, you do have 5 momentum to play with at the moment.
All right. I will be spending a momentum.
Okay.
I don't think I have any. I don't think I have any focuses that'll apply here.
Yeah, I'm looking through. Like I'm almost want to give you mysticism, but nah, I think you're just rolling this one straight, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to roll 3 die here. So I spent 1 momentum and.
Okay. 0 successes. So Azrian, as you attune to the world around you, what you end up sort of feeling is almost this sensation of elation. Like someone has told you a very funny joke, or you've yelled at Shifty and Shifty stormed off in a huff, or, Ensign Yeehaw told a really, really bad joke and it was so bad you had to laugh at it. Like, you're in a very good mood all of a sudden. And that feeling persists until you decide to close off your mind. But it's very strange. It's like how to describe it? It's like a feeling of warmth. It's a feeling of camaraderie. It's a feeling of good cheer. It's just a very almost hippie whoa man, these are good vibes.
Okay. Is it drawing on my character's past experience?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like being wrapped in joy?
Yes. In fact, I was waiting to see if you would ask. It's not as powerful as the Nexus was for you, but it's damn close.
Okay. I'm trying to decide. If I would be. Actually, well, let me ask you a question. I'm going to enjoy it for now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to hold on to the possibility that it might concern me soon.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no evidence of the Nexus here.
Nope.
No. Okay. Yeah. Because it took me a long time to get over the Nexus.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, for now, I'm just going to enjoy the good mood. And I'm probably not going to put 2 and 2 together yet.
Okay. All right.
If there's 2 and 2 to put together. I don't know.
Who knows? Could be 2 + 2 = fish. Who knows? All right. And then finally, we go to Ta'an. Ta'an, what are you looking for in your tricorder scans?
Oh, she's 100% wanted to figure out how the sky works.
Okay.
So with Woban together, Aileen is like, Tan, look at these readings. This is amazing. Just being excited together. I
Sounds
guess.
like this could well be localized gravitons. They could have been responsible, or at least have learned from the technology that utilizes the singularity system to
Maybe
utilize.
they could be drawing power from it, but it's not sure. But the precision, it's almost practically artistic.
Fascinating. Perhaps they are in fact channeling the gravitons from these, siphoning them off to create the shell.
Oh, I hope we get to ask about these.
We really should have the Acheron's very sensitive senses here.
Maybe we can convince the captain to get closer eventually.
I did, in fact, ask Azrien to do so, but he appears to have failed.
Oh,
Samara just hears this because Cation
Mhm.
and gives a bit of a cough and a look, and a just shake of her head. As soon as she hears them talking about the Acheron sensitive sensors, we're friendly so far, but she's a security officer at heart.
Commander, do you require a lozenge?
And she just gives you that look. Oh, the look when a superior officer just gives you the really, and hopes that she gets a hint. Because their host is still here, so she doesn't want to say shut up.
I think that's our toilet of the episode. Do you need a lozenge? I think we found it. Awesome.
Maybe they are all affected by the happy vibes.
Yeah. Well, okay, I guess it is fair since Azrian did it. Samara, you are a telepath. I think it's fair. I'm gonna need a fitness medicine from you too. Also at a difficulty of 2.
Okay, we have a fitness and we have a medicine. Do I get telepathic training as a
You do. You
trait?
very much do. And it is difficulty of 2, so you may wish to spend momentum here.
Yeah, I'm going to if everyone's all right with that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So with 2 successes, Samara, you're not as affected as Azrian currently is. So you're aware that this elation field, for lack of a better term, exists. You are aware that it is spreading good cheer, good vibes, but you have the training and you have the mental fortitude to not tune into it. It's kind of like if you really wanted to, you could tune in, but for the moment, you are separate from it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and the moment she realizes this, she doesn't stop, but she turns her head just to look at each one of the crew. Samara's a little bit upbeat, but she's professional in a lot of what she does. She always looks at things from the security angle, and this is a problem in her mind. So the upbeat, oh, hello everybody, the brightness is sort of faded, and she's having a little bit of difficulty keeping the smile on her face. It's turned into more of a scowl, because in her mind this is an altered perception that shouldn't be there. So her alertness has gone up even further.
Okay. To make a bad analogy, it's almost like Tamara's noted that there is a pool, but Azrian's just jumped in it and gone for a swim.
Yes.
I mean, Azrian. I think Azrian, a better analogy of it is that Azrian has like a pool float, and it's one of those pool floats that you can have like a margarita with at the same time. And, who needs sunscreen? We're getting a tan,
Yes.
And the others are just almost drowning, or what?
Yeah, and Samara's going, ew at water, I'm a cat.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, we're still in the hotel. We don't even know there's a pool.
Fair.
So I think Azrian is going to walk up to our host. What was their name again?
Insidia. I'll put it in chat.
Insidia. And he'll reach out his arm to one of her appendages.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just say, you have such a beautiful space here. Thank you for welcoming us into it. I would love to know all about you and learn more about your history here. And I just want to know everything.
And she kind of smiles down at you and says, that is a very natural reaction. And of course, we would be happy to exchange information. But please, may I introduce you to my sister? And sort of as you crest a hill, you do see that there is kind of like almost Alice in Wonderland style, where there's just a big table in the middle of nowhere. There's a bunch of foods and pitchers of liquid and things like that. But standing next to the table is an almost exact copy of Insidia. And the only difference is that instead of Insidia's black hair and black carapace, this individual has sort of white hair and a white carapace. And as you all walk over, Insidia points and says, this is my twin sister, Osidia. And then they start doing something a little bit weird, where they start to finish each other's sentences and speaking in unison here and there. But as they are talking, they say, again, on the behalf of the Bivarian Empire, we welcome you to Installation 003. Please scan the food, scan the drinks, scan the technology. We are here to provide a positive environment of exchange and understanding. And at that's where we're going to end today's session. So yeah, what did you all think? I know we are just now getting into the thrust of the episode, but we are coming up on time, and I didn't want to push us too far.
That seems a perfectly good place to end it. It's always good when you can get into your characters and do a little bit of actual like scenes and play and so on. But obviously, that takes up time from the actual adventure. So
No, and I think that's perfectly fine. I'm more than happy to explore characters. It's just something where it's always different from group to group, where you sort of have to feel out where is the line between, I want to let them role play and when I should introduce plot. So I'm still sort of figuring that out with the group, but I think we're honing in on it.
Yeah, I think we have a tendency to just jump into Beverly Crusher and Troy doing calisthenics on the holiday kind of things. So we might need whipping a bit more to get along with the plot.
Maybe a bit more threat.
Well, I'm
we've
saving
got
the
8 to
threat.
spend.
No, I'm saving the threat for a reason. But don't worry, the momentum and the threat, they'll carry over to next session, so you still have all that in your disposal.
It was an
certainly a fun
ominous
adventure.
ending.
Yeah, not ominous at all.
Yeah, just a
And-
little bit. We've got Asrian happy. We've got the other two just scanning away, and Samara was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this.
What do you mean? Everything is fine. This is great.
Exactly.
Everything's wonderful. This is a safe space.
And she doesn't like it.
It's too safe.
Oh,
It's too safe.
And by the way, Tarn noted the slight that the commander had against Vulcans, but did not say anything because she's a superior officer, but she's not going to forget it.
Which
Ton will remember this.
Which one?
Which one? She says, I'll say it in a way that Vulcans can understand.
Oh,
When-
yes, that one. Her Vulcans are very different from canon Vulcans.
Oh, so you're a racist then? Is that what you're saying?
No, her Vulcans they never found logic.
Okay. Well, on
Wow.
that note,
Yeah, we'll have
thank
to explore
you,
that later.
E. Yes, thank you, E. You are setting up something amazing, and I hope everyone tunes in next time because I think this is going to get bad.
Oh,
And
it's going to
yes.
get absolutely
bad in the worst
horrible.
possible way.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Me too.
And
Is Aileen not gonna get her fun engineering adventures and looking at the weather system? It's just a dream. It's all fake.
We'll see.
All right.
well,
Well,
it just gives us opportunity for us to actually design the supporting characters as well and give some stats.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've made a note that we have to do supporting characters. Oh, one sec before we sign off, I was requested to explain how Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition advancement works. So one thing that you're quote unquote supposed to do is every time you ever use a value, whether you use it positively, negatively, or if you challenge a value, just make a note somewhere, whether it's on your character sheet or in your notes, just somewhere, just make a note of it. Because anytime you make or you use a value in such a way, you are able to adjust your character sheet. Now, what that means is that you can raise or lower an attribute, you can raise or lower a department, you could change out a focus, you could change out a talent, or if you don't like any of those for your main character, you can do all that to a supporting character. And that is the very basic form of advancement to actually start like gaining points instead of just switching them around or gaining a focus or gaining a talent. That is what is known as a milestone. And the way you achieve a milestone is if you're able to tie a value back to a previous adventure where you use that same value. So it's kind of one of those things where we're sort of blessed that we have this recording that we can refer back to. But it is something I probably should have said probably at the very beginning of the session, which I apologize for, but just be mindful of your values and when you're using them, because that's how you advance as a character here.
That's good to know.
Yeah. All right, well, Twitch, stick around because we're going to raid somebody, but YouTube, we'll see you later. Bye-bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.